name is Rhoda Moss Latimer, and I'm with Colibri Real Estate, where we transform lives one home at a time. And I've been in the real estate business for over 20 years, and I've been teaching since 2006, and I love helping you become a money-making agent. Today, we're going to dive into another essential appraisal technique, and this is called the Gross Income Multiplier, or GIM. This method is particularly useful for valuing income-producing properties like duplexes. Let's break it down step by step. The gross income multiplier is a simple yet effective way to estimate the value of a property based on rental income. Essentially, it involves dividing the sales price of the property by its annual rent to get a multiplier. This multiplier can be applied to other properties with similar rental incomes to estimate their value. Let's take a look at a question to illustrate this. Now here it says a seller is listing their duplex for $193,000. The annual rent for both units is $28,800. If I were answering this question, I would be more careful to see whether it said for both units or each unit. If it said each unit, then you would have to remember to double the rent to answer the question. Here it says both units, so we'll leave it the same. The question is, what is the value of the duplex using the gross income multiplier method based on the following recent sales in the immediate area? Let's take a look at some sales that have taken place. In this case, we have a property, number one, that sold for $187,000 and its rent was $26,400 annually. Property 2 sold for $209,000 with an annual rent of $30,960. Property 3 sold for $179,000 with an annual rent of $24,960. Well, what does that mean? When we divide the sales price by the annual rent, that tells us that the unit sold, or this property sold, 7.08 times its annual rent. If we do that for each of these properties, we will get a gross income multiplier, or a multiplier for each one of these sales. We then add them together, we get 21. Divide by 3, and we will get that the gross income multiplier in this area on average is 7. Now the question here is, what is the value of the duplex? Well, if the rent for the duplex is $28,800 and the multiplier that's happening in the area or occurring in the area is 7, if we just simply multiply these two numbers together, we'll get a good idea of what this property should sell for. 7 is the GIM times $28,800 equals $201,600 for an estimate of the value of that property. One more thing I wanted to leave you with on the GIM or the GRM technique. If you look at this question, the multiplier was 7. That's a fairly low number. And what that means is that the property is going to sell for 7 times its annual income or annual rent. That's typically how a GIM or gross income multiplier is used. Normally, income multipliers will be annual. If you've got a higher number, then it would be based upon the monthly rate. In other words, how many times the monthly rent did the property sell for? Obviously, that number is going to be higher. That's typically referred to as a GRM, or gross rent multiplier. If you see a number up in the 100 range, 80, 110, or something like that, that's going to be based upon monthly rent. There's no way a property is ever going to sell for 80 or 100 times its annual rent. Also, the flip side of this is it's very unrealistic that it would only sell for 7 or 8 times its monthly rent. That's it for today's session on gross income multiplier techniques. I hope this helps you understand how to approach these questions. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Colibri Real Estate channel for more tips and tricks. Good luck and see you in the next one.